What if I told you that one of the most dominant players in college basketball isn't in the Power 5, isn't on ESPN, and isn't even in Division I? Mary Schleusner doesn't just break records, she shatters them, and she's not done yet. The 6'1" center out of Charlotte, North Carolina, didn't even know she wanted to play collegiate basketball. But when Washington and Lee University came calling, she saw an opportunity ahead of her. Not just to lead the team to their first conference title in over a decade, but to leave her legacy as a general.
For the first time in program history, is going to the Sweet 16. How sweet it is for W&L.
But this isn't about statistics. This is about a program and a culture, changed forever by one generational talent.
That one blocked by Schleusner. Schleusner trying to go to the basket, counting in the foul. The turnaround. And Schleusner banks it in for two. For Schleusner, she'll respond with a straightaway three of her own. Schleusner's day done, 28 points, 25 rebounds. It's her 11th 20-20 game of the season. Has now enough rebounds to secure the ODAC all-time record for career rebounds to her name. Is the single game, single season, and now career. Feeds Schleusner into a double team, fading away along the baseline for two.
Schleusner! So Mary, what brought you to W&L?
Yeah, so when I was a junior in high school, I always thought I was going to run in college, and whether that was a D1 school or even a D3 school, that was my planned path. But I started to take basketball more seriously, sort of decided running wasn't for me, and that's when I thought about Catherine Vandiver, my senior friend when I was a freshman, and my mom went here, so we went on a couple of visits here. I came, absolutely loved it through Catherine and through the teammates as well that were on the team at the time, and I committed. And I can't believe they let me in. I'm beyond grateful every single day that I get to go to school here. And I mean, flash forward 2.5 years later, here I am having the time of my life.
I mean, did you think you'd be playing basketball in college?
No chance. When I was a freshman in high school, my coach told me don't shoot. And my only, place on the team was a defender, I learned. And then sort of grew into my stick figure body. And by junior year, I had started shooting. And then senior year, I was an impact player on the team with my senior friend, Maddie Shannon. So we were making it work by then. But in no world did I ever think I was going to be playing basketball. Me and my mom were heading home my freshman year from our high school senior night, and she made a joke to me and said, maybe if you're good enough, you'll get to play at W&L with Catherine Vandiver one day. And that was a laughing matter in the car that night. And to see that I'm here now is kind of absurd, and I wish I could tell my younger self that, it's going to happen, just watch it all unfold and enjoy it. So it happened, and I'm here and defied all odds in my head, but maybe not of those around me.
I mean, you were just talking about telling your younger self what to expect in college. What would you tell your freshman year self?
I would tell my freshman year self to watch and observe as much as you can from the teammates around me, because they're what made me into the player I am today, and more importantly, the leader I am today. I didn't come in here as a post, and so to be able to watch Catherine Vandiver, Catherine Pettigrove, and Lauren Actor and watch them how they play post and, take little pieces of their game and transform it to mine was exactly what put me where I am today. And then just those above me and all the leaders, and their different leadership styles, because everybody's different, but they all made me feel good in a different type of way. And so, I would tell my freshman year self to also just enjoy it. I can't believe I'm a junior right now, let alone about to go into my senior year. Just did registration this morning. So enjoy it. I mean, this so far has been the best 3 years of my life. So don't take anything for granted. And I think senior year, I just want to keep that ball rolling, both on the court and off the court.
So Mary, you've got dozens of accolades to the point where if you click on your player profile, you have to scroll down a little bit. Is there a favorite?
I wouldn't say there's a favorite. I guess maybe if I had to pick one, I'd pick National Rookie of the Year when I was a freshman. I think that was the first time, all praise to the ODAC, but when I got National D3 Rookie of the Year, I think that sort of hit me in that, you know, I didn't only make a difference in the conference on our team, I made a difference in the country, and, you know, more than just our conference saw that. I was beyond shocked. I didn't even know that was an award, and I remember exactly where I was. I was scrolling through Instagram on the way up from Linfest to Coop, and I saw a picture of me cutting down the net from our ODAC win in the Salem Center, and it said D3 National Rookie of the Year, and I called my dad and I said, "Can you believe it?" And he said, "Yes, I can you?" To which I answered, "No, this is insane."
So what role did your dad, your mom, your brothers play in shaping the basketball player and, I mean, the person you are today?
They were everything, and I guess the person and player I am today. From growing up with two older brothers that, I mean, you can't really get any tougher than that. And they showed that toughness to me every single day and sort of built me into the tough and relentless person I am today. So I've got them to thank for that. And then for the person I am, that's my two parents. My mom is the most graceful and forgiving person you'll ever meet. And I think no matter how angry or mad I am and how much I want to vent to her, she's just going to tell me to forgive and treat others the way I want to be treated. And there's no greater life lesson. And then my dad, hours rebounding for me, and you know, my mom driving me to and from different trainers and clinics. I remember my dad took me and my older brothers to Panthers games in Charlotte, North Carolina. We would get one Panthers game a year, and that would be the big treat. But one year, the Panthers game fell on this basketball clinic that my dad really wanted me to go to at Queens College, a D3 school in Charlotte. And I left the Panthers game in the first quarter. I remember I was sobbing, crying, and I get to the clinic, and I just remember I wasn't too grateful to be there, but thinking back, it was little times like those, like that little work that separated me from everybody else. You know, I may not have wanted to be there, but you know, that's what got me here today. And it's not that I didn't enjoy it, it's just that, like, man, you think about all those little pieces that you had to put together to get here. And my junior year of high school, we were COVID, so I went in every other day. And my junior year of high school in the fall, I got up at 4:30 a.m. every morning, drove to Antoine Robinson, who was my trainer at the time, and I practiced from 5 to 6:30, drove home, got home by 7, showered, up and at school by 8. And I mean, to go from that to a 8-hour school day, and then I had cross-country practice, I'm just sort of in awe of my work ethic back then, and the only thing I can say to my younger self is thank you for putting that in. It's super cool to think back about all those little pieces that maybe a lot of people haven't known about that got me to where I am today.
How difficult was it to eventually choose the basketball track instead of cross-country or track?
Yeah, I mean, my older two brothers were runners, and they were far better at it than me. I think that also is something that a lot of people don't realize, is that as the athlete of the family, I'm not the athlete of my family. I'm the third best out of 3. And so always in a competition with them, but more importantly, just like in a competition with myself, trying to make myself better so I can prove myself to my two older brothers. But to then go from cross country to basketball, I think was the separator. I think my brothers, you know, weren't as tall as me. I got blessed with the height gene. So that's what set me apart. There was no comparison or competition with basketball until it was on our sport court after Thanksgiving dinner. But I think it was a difficult decision in that my cross country team shaped me into the person I am today. Those teammates were beyond compare. By far, that's one of the best teams, I think, in a moral sense, and just genuine good characters on the team. And so to leave that, but then try to transform my basketball team into that, I think was what I was hoping to do here. And yeah.
I mean, where did this love of basketball originate?
I have no idea. My dad was my rec league coach when I was in church league, so maybe him. I think so much it's a fast-paced game, you know. Everybody's getting touches on the ball. There's also 5 people on the court at one time on your team, so everybody's cohesive. And then one step further than that, you've got 15 players on a team, so there's no room for cliques, friend groups, or anything. You're just with each other. You're one big family, and there's truly no room for any group separation. Everybody loves and supports each other. Everybody's best friends with each other. And you just can't replace that or find that in any other sport.
So after you heard about the National Rookie of the Year title your freshman year, did any part of you ever want to enter the transfer portal, maybe go to a bigger name school?
Yeah, I mean, not after freshman year. I think everybody and myself sort of keeps me humble in the fact that, like, yes, we are D3. And I'm very proud of the fact we are D3 because I'm getting a heck of an education while also getting to play 4 years of the sport I love. But I'd say after sophomore year, I think that was a big year for me in terms of accolades and accomplishments. And I'd say, yeah, there was a little bit of me, especially with the teams that reached out to my coach from home, having interest in me, playing for them. A little bit of me, I was like, oh my goodness, I could maybe do this. This would be awesome. But I think in the end, I look back to my high school and middle school and lower school self. There was never a part of me that was like, my dream is to play D1. I went to an AAU tryout and they asked us in the beginning, they said, who here wants to play D1? Raise your hand. And they said, if you're not raising your hand, leave the gym right now. And I almost left the gym, but he said, you stay. But the thing was, I didn't want to play D1. I just wanted to play basketball. And I think really that's what set me apart, is that my love for the game has just been because I love basketball and the people around me. And it's not that I'm not shooting for a goal. It's just that, like, I'm being where my feet are the whole time. And so that's what I remembered sophomore year, where I was like, no, you can't really replace these people, this education, this school, this campus. I love it so much. So gotta stay home.
Now this has been a huge year for you in terms of solidifying your spot in those record books. You broke the all-time points record, rebounds record, blocks record. How does that feel?
Yeah, every time I figure out about them, I'm sort of in shock, and then I forget for the next anytime, like I don't think I can sort of quantify or think about how it feels, or it's just really, really neat. And I never ever would have thought that I would be doing this. I think the bigger things to me are those individual games more than the records, because when I'll have a 30-30 game like at Roanoke this year, I think that's what feels unreal. But I think back to freshman year when I would have 14 and 13, and if that was unreal to me as well. And like, I felt so good about that. And my dad called me and was like, double-double, that's awesome. And if I don't get a double-double this year, it's sort of a disappointment game. And not that I don't like the pressure, it's fun to play with. I don't take it for granted. The pressure is there because all the good things in my life have happened to put it there. So, I'm lucky in that sense. It's a bit terrifying, but I think now, I think in the least cocky way possible, when I walked onto the Baldwin Wallace court, what sort of fuels me now is that, like, the best players don't have to tell everybody that they're the best player. They just go out and do it. And so when I walked onto the Baldwin Wallace court, I just like to think in my head, I'm the best player in the court, but let's prove that to them and let's show them right now.
You mentioned the pressure. At what point did you feel like your performance as a player started carrying into your name on campus?
Oh, shoot. Yeah. Freshman year, I didn't notice it at all. I think that because it didn't really exist at all. Nobody knew me when I came in, which in a basketball sense was glorious. I was on nobody's scouting reports. That was amazing. I took that for granted. Sophomore year, not really much until I went to Tea House one day and I handed them my swipe. And when you hand them their swipe, they swipe for you and your name pops up on the screen and they said, oh my gosh, you're Mary Schleusner. And I was like, yeah, I'm Mary Schleusner. And they're like, you're amazing at basketball. Keep doing what you're doing. That's awesome. And I think from then on, I sort of was like, holy smokes, this is cool. I know we're D3, but a lot of people do know me here, and it's the coolest thing ever. I told you once before, I said, in one sense, it feels like the entire campus knows you, but from an extroverted sense, I feel like I know the entire campus, which is the coolest experience ever as a college kid. And so this year, it was blown out of proportion, I think, from everything that came last year. So I just have people telling me, especially freshmen telling me, oh, you're that girl that plays basketball. And then I'm a university ambassador, so I give tours. And people that come here that don't even go here know who I am. So that is pretty cool. And then my professors, when I come in and take a class, I don't know them. President Dudley. It's really, really neat. I think it's so fun. A little scary at times, but I like that it keeps me in check and keeps me having a smile on my face. So, I mean, what a cool experience as a junior in college.
I mean, you just said it. There are people who come up to you saying, oh, Mary, you're the girl who plays basketball. Does that ever feel, dismissive at all, thinking that they're kind of just writing you off as, hey, Mary Schleusner, she's our basketball star, but not getting the chance to know you?
Yeah. Well, for starters, I definitely appreciate it. Like, gosh, I love more than anything making new friends. So for them to come up to me and say that and introduce themselves, I love that. But in the end, I do not want to be the girl that just played basketball here. That's why I'm trying to get involved in other things on campus too. But I think once they get to know me, I'm way more than the girl that just plays basketball. I like to ask my friends when they tell their parents about me, what do they say? Like, is it the tall girl that plays basketball, or is it the super fun, outgoing, eccentric person and girl that loves to just dancing and just appreciate everybody, because that's how I like to see myself. And so I hope that's what people get after meeting me. I try to put my best foot forward and be that person to them all the time. And so I think once people get to know me, maybe that's what they'll say, hopefully. And like I said, coming back for young alum or alum, my weekend in a couple years or in 30 years down the road, I truly don't want to be that person that's like, you were good at basketball, but I do want to be, someone that, has a bunch of great memories with somebody. They bring them up, they talk about all the fun times and all the laughs and all the crazy things we did, because I think that's what college is all about. Basketball is another thing, and I think that's what my teammates will say too. Like, we won't talk about the games. We'll talk about the bus rides and the meals and all the fun things we shared together. But yeah, the more connections I make, the more I think I can foster that idea of me. But until then, I hope to be the girl that plays basketball enough so that people come and say hi.
Oh, Mary, I would be a terrible journalist if I didn't talk at least a little bit about Fizz. What do you think about all the chatter?
Fizz is interesting, especially because it's anonymous, 70% of the time it's awesome. People are fizzing my name, and half the time I don't even know about it. I get sent a lot of screenshots. And then 30%, you've got some tough fizzes out there where they're just saying triple-double points, rebounds, turnovers, which has been true a few times or another. But for every fizz that's hating on my name, you've got threefold downvotes on it. So it's nice to know that there are W&L students that do like me enough to downvote my name. And a lot of the times, if it's a good fizz, you've got like 800 upvotes. And I don't even know 800 people here, but to have 800 people click that upvote, I'm like, sweet, thanks guys. It's fun though. I always laugh at it. I've never really gotten too hurt about it. Sometimes I send it to my parents, only the hatred ones, and my parents are like, what the hell? But no, I can only laugh for enough. I can only laugh that there's somebody that, has enough time on their hands to put my name on their keyboard and think of something to fizz to hate me, but it's all good.
We talk about motivation here. When you do walk out on that court, that feeling of wanting to perform and excel, what % is it for your teammates versus for you versus for the representation of the school?
For my teammates, I want to say 100% right now, because that's what it's all for. I seriously wouldn't show up to any practice if it wasn't for them. Basketball would not be nearly as fun, and I would lose every love for the game I have. So that's what makes me want to do well, but truly what motivates me to do well, and what gets me into that mindset of I've got to do it for them, is that feeling I was talking to you about earlier, and it only hit this year, is that there's a little bit this year that I've unlocked of this pride in myself and all the work I've put in, and it's the ability to lock into that mode of I can jump this high, I'm the fastest on the court. I may not be the best ball handler, but boy, can I lock in on all the other assets of my game. And so to walk onto that court and, flush out all of that nervousness by just looking at everybody else on the other team and be like, I'm the best person on this court and they're afraid to play me right now, so be a villain. And that was sort of my mantra this year, is that we were playing Shenandoah away. We went into half. I think we were down by 10 at half. And when we go into halftime, there's a few portion of time that you get just to yourself. And I took my phone and I texted my really good friend Sophie Edwards, who's on the lacrosse team here. And I texted her, I'm about to enter villain mode, period. I've never said that before. I don't know where that came from. I just texted her, I'm about to enter villain mode, period. And we came back out. Third quarter, we're down by 18. And fourth quarter, I have 22 points, which is absolutely unheard of. And we finished the game and we won. And after an 18-point deficit in the third, and I had 42 points. And I just remember thinking, like, that's what villain mode is. Like, be the person everybody hates to play. And then from then on, I told my dad about that, and Sophie and I know it. And so now I look at my dad in the stands and I do this as I'm putting on my villain mask. And so I sort of did that from Shenandoah on. I was sitting on the bench before they announced me, and right before I get announced, sort of put on my mask, and then I go. And that's my villain mode. Once I get on the court, I enter villain mode, and it's all fun and games until you're the person that nobody wants to play. So that's what motivates me, being the villain, while also being a best friend to my teammates. But gosh, put on that mask and get ready to perform.
I mean, is there any other scenario where that mask comes out when you're about to enter a test?
It probably should academically. WNL is such a hard school, and I'm trying to stay afloat a lot. So, I'll take your advice and try to enter villain mode before tests and before papers. But really, right now, it's just been here. It's hilarious. My dad we were playing in the ODAC final, and obviously it didn't go the way we wanted, but I looked up at him, and I didn't have the best shooting game in the first half, but he looked at me in the third quarter, and he just said, right now, it's got to be now. So sort of looked back at him, put that mask on, and I did the best I could, but we couldn't come out. But geez, putting on villain mode lights a fire in me, turns on a light in my brain and just lights a fire and makes me go, go, go.
I'd love to talk a little bit about this past year in particular, because you had to go through a coaching change. And I'm curious, one, how smooth was that transition? And two, how did you feel you had to step up as a leader on the team?
Coach Kemp has been amazing. It was a super smooth change, and we learned today, and I sort of knew this when she was coming in, that she didn't want to change too much about the program. We'd been super successful sophomore year, ODAC champs and Elite Eight, and she didn't just want to come in here and flip the program upside down. But obviously there were things that needed to be changed, and she made all the exact and all the right moves to do so. In a way, though, there was sort of a step up in the fact that we didn't have an assistant coach for the second half of the year, and on a motivation standpoint for the team, it's she did come to me a lot in the middle of games and ask me and say, you need to talk to them right now because it's not going to be me. So those timeouts during games, I think it's stepping up, and as much as I was uncomfortable, the best leader is one that does so in confidence and steps up and tells the team that they've got this. And I think that showed a lot in Shenandoah when we were down 18 and just saying, chip away 1 point at a time, guys. Just go out, don't lose confidence, stay with each other. And so the coaching transition was tough, but because obviously you hope to have a coach that sees your whole journey unfold and can talk to you your senior year and tell you everything you did right and wrong and tell you from their perspective how you grew as a pro player. So that would be awesome, but what's even better is that you've got a coach now that even loves you and cares even more. So she came in, guns a-blazing, is committed to our program, and the best part is every single player on the court bought in. So you couldn't ask for a better change from a player standpoint. And then next year, she just told us she's going to be kicking it up 3 notches in terms of intensity on defense and what she's expecting from us. So I'm excited for that. That should be fun. But yeah, I do my best to step up as a leader, but at the same time, it's I think my leadership style is making sure everybody knows they're appreciated and valued. And I think a part of that comes with not stepping up too much, letting other people get some airtime, because my voice is equally as important as everybody else's on the court. And so a lot of the times being quiet has helped me understand that there's a lot more valuable lessons to learn, and it comes from even the quieter of players. So yeah.
What are the goals for senior season?
Number one goal, have fun. I want to go out on a high note. My whole career, my basketball career ends in a year. And I've been playing this since I could walk. So that's definitely sad, but like to go out on a high note, I think would be the best gift I could get. And then to just, if I can replicate the joy I get from being around my teammates, just an ounce of it back to them, I think that would be a career well spent. And my love of basketball, I think it took me until college to realize that it does stem from my teammates and not stems from the shooting percentage of all the passes that connect or steals, blocks, rebounds. It's from my teammates. So for me to appreciate them that much would be, replicating that to them. And then, a national championship would be fun. I can't lie. If we can get the ODEC one more time and a national championship, road to Roanoke. We were just in the junior meeting with the coach, and we were talking about all that, and then just to foster such a team culture. And then long-term goal, if I could come back for young alum in a couple years and see that team culture still replicated and just everybody loving each other and enjoying each other's presence and lifting each other up, celebrating each other's successes, there's nothing more you could ask for than thinking that that's the same program that you were a part of and helped build from when you played.
If your toddler self, the one who just picked up their first basketball, caught a glimpse of where you are now, how your game has evolved, who you've become on this campus, what do you think she'd think?
I think she'd be very proud of me. A lot of people will tell me, and I'm okay saying this, like I still have a very childish and childish attitude about the world. In a sense, it's not a bad thing. I see all the good in people. I love getting to know people. I love learning new things. I'm super curious. And if she were to look at me right now, I think she'd say I was very tall. And then I think she'd be very appreciative that I didn't lose a lot of that. We'd be very good friends. And I'd get along with her very well. But at the same time, I think it's funny because at the ODEC game this year at the championship, we had just accepted our defeat and, taken second place. Everybody had headed to the locker room, but there was around 20 girls waiting for me that had played for the Salem Little League team that had all wanted my autograph. And so I signed all their jerseys, and they had told me I was the best player on the court, which I did appreciate, especially after coming out from a loss, when some other players could have taken that crown from their mouths, like Kagi or Matheny could have easily had that badge from those little players, but they told me that, and they got my autograph. And I was once in their shoes, but I would have never guessed I would have been pro. I don't know. A lot of people say, follow your dreams, you can do anything. And it's not that I didn't believe in myself. In a sense, I told you, I had a lot of big dreams when I was little. And so being a basketball player, I wasn't even close to being one of them. But telling them that they're going to make it, just keep at it. And then in doing so, appreciate all those in your journey that will get you to where you will be. I had countless number of trainers, and each one worked on a different part of my game. And so I couldn't be more grateful to have them in my life and to also train with the other girls in my way, I feel so grateful to have every single part of my journey to put me where I am. It's made me appreciate everything about myself. And, there's these expressions that are you are a product of, you're a summation of everybody you are around. And I like to serve as one big mosaic of everybody I'm around. And so take all the good that you see in people and, cheat a little in humanity. Cheat a little in that you can steal that good and, steal it, use it, and just replicate it the best you can. But don't forget who gave it to you in the end, because, you're a mosaic of them. So just keep on keeping on, do your best, those 5 a.m. wake-ups may be tough, but you're going to thank yourself later on, and not only work on your work ethic, but just take a step back and appreciate your personality and all of those who have created it.
I think you need to nix the word childish and fill it with childlike sense of wonder.
Childlike
Maybe
sense
something a
of
little more
wonder.
positive.
I'll say that. I mean, sometimes my childishness will come back to bite me in the academic sense, and when I'm like, I'll just submit it, just that. But I guess, yeah, that is childlike sense of wonder, and that I think in my brain I have this little pressure point that is maybe clicking on the part of my brain that's like, don't submit your paper early, or the repercussion part, because I am a very much optimist, and I think everything's gonna work out in my favor. And so maybe my childlike sense of wonder, I think if you took a glimpse into my brain, it would be me and all my friends frolicking around fields with basketballs and a bunch of hoops and painting rainbows and having the best time.
It's stayed that way since 5 years old, all the way
That's what it
to
looked like when I
20.
was 5. Yep.
Fantastic. Mary, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.